The June 2023 update of Panzoid just dropped. Let's go over some of the highlights. The biggest change you'll notice right when you open the app is that the old Types panel is gone, and now we have the new Browser panel. This panel combines several panels into one and is visually nicer and easier to use. It also has some new features. Let's take a look. There's a new sidebar to allow you to quickly jump between different asset and type categories for better organization. It's especially easier to find different types now, and there's also a new special section to quickly access your own custom types. The sidebar is still being actively improved, but this is already a huge improvement from before. Importing now imports assets directly instead of converting to types first. This is a little bit technical, but I'll give a quick overview for those that are interested. Before, when you imported an asset, it was immediately converted into a type so you could use it in a project. For example, a video asset would turn into a video clip type. This is a reasonable choice because assets do need to be converted into types before you can actually use them. However, this doesn't need to be done at import time. It's actually better for several reasons to create types when you actually want to use an asset somewhere. So that's exactly how it works now. Types are created on the fly based on the context of where you're trying to use them. There are a lot more cool things we can do with this that will be coming in future updates, so stay tuned for those. The new preview pane allows you to quickly see metadata for various items. This is super handy when you want to, for example, double check the resolution or frame rate of some of your footage. You can also preview your assets directly in this area, which is convenient because you don't need to drop media onto the timeline to examine it. In this update, you can now drag lots of different types directly onto the timeline. This is part of a larger philosophy that we're working toward, where dragging things just makes sense, and if the app can reasonably infer what your intentions are, then it will do it. For example, if you drop a geometry onto the timeline, it will just work. Behind the scenes, the app creates a scene and a 3D object and a material for you, but if you just want to get a 3D shape into your project, you don't need to think about all that anymore. You can even drop a font asset directly onto the timeline and it will create some 2D text with that font. Of course, there are different possible interpretations of this action, but the one it chooses is perfectly reasonable and it's a lot more intuitive than doing nothing at all. This also makes custom types more versatile since you don't need to have different versions of the same type to use in different scenarios. If you're video editing with Gen 4, these new timeline editing tools will make your life easier. The new cut tool is very straightforward. It's the razor tool you may know from other tools. Instead of using a key shortcut or a command to cut clips, you can now activate this tool to click and cut any clip on the timeline. It's great, especially when you need to make a lot of cuts very quickly. The select tool allows you to select all the clips forwards or backwards on a single track or on all tracks. Again, this functionality was present before, but now it's available as a mouse-based tool as well. Ripple delete is a super useful technique when editing videos, but sometimes you just want to quickly remove a clip without affecting other tracks. For this, there's now a shortcut called collapse delete, which deletes a clip and collapses the gap it leaves behind. It's sort of like a single track ripple delete, and it's a great addition to any video editing workflow. It's also useful to quickly clear out gaps. Just press G to toggle gap selection and select a gap you want to remove and Alt delete it. A lot of work has been done behind the scenes as part of a larger rendering architecture refactor, and you'll definitely be hearing more about that in future updates. For this update, there's now frame buffering during playback to help smooth out rendering and hopefully prevent any stutters or glitches while you're previewing your work. During playback, you'll now only see complete and correct frames, where before it was possible during lag situations to see glitched or broken frames. A ton of bugs have been fixed in this update as usual, but notably, there is now finally better support for keyboard shortcuts on different keyboard layouts. And that's it for this update. I hope you all enjoyed. Give it a try and let us know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.